my friends. Welcome to another podcast with yours truly. Doc is my name, and I'm coming to you from Albuquerque in New Mexico. And this is a podcast where I talk about whatever I have created with yarn, and also where I talk about the yarns that I have dyed, hence the name ZiaWoolz StudioBuzz. Chatter about all of the above. I wanted to mention at first that you may have noticed that I have gotten back into recording more paper talks, and I know that some people get a little bit frustrated because they're waiting for the yarn content, but rest assured, I do try to balance, because I know the paper stuff is not interesting for everybody. And but I've thought about creating a different channel, but I thought, hey, this is about me and the things I love. And so it's everything. It's the yarn as well as the paper and the fountain pens and the inks. And so this is what you get, but I'm trying to mark it clearly so you can find the yarn content as easily as you can go to the playlist with all the paper related stuff. Okay, what has been happening in the past 2 weeks? I have finished my pair of socks that I have made for myself, the double knit ones. And I have sock one right here. I am making these with 3.5 millimeter needles, and in this case I've cast on DPNs 13 stitches per needle. I know I normally do 12 stitches per needle, but in this case I thought, ooh, I really want them kind of like loosey-goosey and not too tight and hot, because, well, they're still going to be hot and warming, but I just wanted them to be a little looser, and I thought, well, I'll see how that goes, kind of like a floppy type of around the house sock. Yes, and the second sock, yes, it is finished, and you will notice that it looks a little bit weird. Yes, it's because in the middle of weaving the ends, I have stopped weaving in the ends. Yes, that was on sock 2. Sock 1 finished. This is how we roll around here. And you may wonder what got me distracted. And you do need to know that I tend to have a lot of yarn on my side of the sofa, which is facing the TV, because that's where we spend our evenings. We usually watch something and then I knit and Wyatt watches. So I have this space usually covered in yarns and covered in my projects. And so at some point, my crochet project for my daughter caught my eye. And you are probably going to think, what? You wanted to get that done before she leaves for college, which was actually yesterday. And yes, I was thinking about it, but then I kind of lost my mojo a little bit, because I know I'm going to need probably one more ball of yarn. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get as far as I can, thus the abandonment of this, because all of a sudden it hit me, hey, I gotta get going. I gotta see how it fits on her. And that's what happened. And I did not even, you're gonna, well, slow down. So I am using this yarn, which is a German yarn, and it's called, by the company Lana Grossa, and it's called Linarte. And here's the tag. It is absolutely lovely to crochet with, And even though I have to say almost every ball had a knot, but whatever. It's just because of the rayon content. Let me read that to you. It has 10% polyamide, 20 linen, 30 cotton, and 40 rayon. And I love that rayon content. I'm just really, it's beautiful. It gives your fabric a nice drape. And I'm using this crochet hook, which is a kind of vintage one from many, many years ago. I think the company name is Enox, German, should be a 3.5. And what I did, if you haven't watched the last episode, my daughter wanted a meshy sweater, like all mesh. We'll see how and where she wears it. But she wanted long sleeves, kind of a little bit onto the hand. And she wanted it wider in the front than here and a little bit longer, but kind of cropped. So in Germany, I had started with the sleeve and I was kind of halfway in and I thought, I'm going to attach the body. This was a bad idea. I should have done the body and then went out to with both sleeves from the body. And the funny thing is that I said that in the English podcast last time. And while I was talking about the project on the German version of this podcast, all of a sudden I had this light bulb moment where it hit me. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I will finish the sleeve and then go up and down over the shoulder, front to back. And then when I come to the neck opening, I will work the front and the back separately, going up and down, making a nice neckline. And then once I'm done with the front and the back, I will join them again and keep going to here, close my side seam, whichever way is gonna work. I'll figure it out once I'm there. And then I'm gonna finish with the other sleeve. That was so great. And then I even got a message from a friend, hey, I made something like this. This is gonna work. Keep going, keep going. And it kind of, I am sometimes really fast at ripping out things when I start fast and furious, and then I realize it doesn't work, and then I rip it out fast and furious. In this case, thank goodness I did not do the ripping. I still kept thinking, and that's what saved me because it works. It really works. So yesterday, before my daughter left, a friend of hers was here. And even though I was pretty much here, but the neckline, the front and the back, the neck was not finished. The neck opening wasn't finished. So front and back were not connected again. And I mean, this part was done, not this. So her friend helped and she held it in the back and I held it in the front. And of course she could put on the sleeve and I could see that this looks great. She loved it and her birthday is early in September. So I am, of course, planning to have that done for then and hopefully make for a happy day. And so without further ado, here it is. And I've talked about this before. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, are you bored to death? Because this is me. This is her. And picture either this color or black. Yeah. So it's working out and I am super excited. I I'm not sure how much is gonna fall off the shoulders. I'm sure she won't mind too much because you need something underneath anyways. But if it falls too much, what I'm thinking is I will add a band that connects the two parts of the shoulder in the back, and that way it will hold the neckline together. I don't think I will need to crochet around the neckline. So far, I think I don't need that, but I could do that also to keep it together a little bit more. Yeah, but I'm super happy. This morning I thought, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going. I wanna see how it works, and I'm thrilled that it does. Yes. So this is the sweater for my daughter, which kind of made me realize that you always have to think about, give it a little bit of an extra thought if you're uncertain before you rip back. Happy, happy, happy. And of course, as you know, I have 4 of those 50-gram balls of yarn, and I'm gonna be on the lookout how I can get a 5th one. If I don't manage to find it in America, I know my friend Doris already promised that she could get me another ball of yarn and ship it to me, but that's expensive with the shipping. So hopefully I'll find it in the States. Then these are my other 3 sock projects. The bag is a thrifted one. Sometimes I just love clear bags because then I see the project that's in there and it's like, oh yeah, pick me up, keep going. Knit me, knit me. In this case, I put all the 3 regular socks in here that I'm knitting, as well as the double knit socks for a knit along of a German podcasting friend. Her name is Freiweib, Melanie, and her and the other friend is an Instagram friend, Nina, of 161 Maschen on Instagram. No podcast from Nina, sadly. And I have worked a little bit on all of these 3 pairs, and I love all the yarns, as you can imagine. These are like really, I don't need to tell you what the yarns are because these are not available online, but they're super fun. And this is Schoppel-Zauberball. And the colorway, well, I'm going to tell you when I'm eventually coming to the end of this, because I did keep the tags, but they're in the individual project bags. So, and these are somewhere. So, but I wanted to show you the socks in the meantime. They're going to take me a while. Hopefully I'll get them done. I think this knit along is going to end at the end of August. Don't think I will get the socks done because this is the first sock, but at least what I did is I managed to do the heels on all 3 pairs of socks. This is just a very normal and basic sock, no pattern. My standard stitch count of 16 stitches on every needle. The needle is a 2.5 and the yarn fingering. And if you wonder what that little green thing is, because I have 3 going at a time, I write down the brief information about the construction on these little things, like the main numbers. In this case, I think I wrote, can I read it? I can, yes I can. 40 rows, which means the leg, and then the heel has 18 rows, and then I divide the heel stitches into 12, 8, 12, pick up on the side, on each side 15. So that's the information. And then eventually I'm also going to write down how many stitches after the gusset for the foot. That's the first pair. Love it. That goes with this yarn. That was dyed by a friend, by a German friend. And see that I don't pull out the wrong needle. I did that the other day. Had some floating stitches really fast. Went back to pick them up. And I managed. No major problem. Here again, same thing. 40 for the leg. Yeah, I could have done them all the same, but whatever. Heel is done, and last but certainly not least, because you may remember that I love Zauberball, and this is the only one of these socks where I have already started the foot. So I was done with my heel, and now I have finished the gusset, and now it's just knit, knit, knit. I think one of the reasons why I love the Zauberball so much is that it very much reminds me of handspun yarn. The unpredictability, is that a word or did I make that up? Can I say it again? Unpredictability of the combination of colors, how they meet and how that looks like. I just love it. Zauberball. Yeah, love, 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 love. And then I am still working on the Sakita, and that is the shawl that I'm turning asymmetrical triangle to symmetrical triangle. I'm just going to show you here a piece of my madness, normal chart versus my chart, with white out areas and corrections and blah blah. And the shawl I'm talking about looks like what? Well, you could also look at my friends, my knit along participant friends Instagram. She just finished the shawl. I applaud her. 2 weeks ago, I said, well, if you want to make that shawl with me, you don't need to go crazy like me and make it symmetrical. But if you want to knit it, that would be lovely. I'm going to create a WhatsApp group and we can chat and exchange about our colors. Yes, the first woman in the group has already finished the shawl. I wanted to give you some room to clap. That's incredible, right? And you can, I'm going to put her Instagram name here because I can't remember it from the top of my head. We're just a very small group, but I think everybody is super relaxed and happy about the project and happy about picking the colors. And I did want to find that picture for you so you know what I'm talking about. And this is the shawl, the way it's supposed to look like if you stick to the pattern. I wanted to tell you a few things. So I am using some fingering leftovers from a gradient set that I had used in the last, for another shawl that I recently finished. And I thought, oh, that's just gonna be great. I'm just gonna knit until I run out of yarn with every single color. Then I'm gonna add on my own sugarloaf, and I'm gonna, if I need more, I'm gonna dye more. It's all gonna be easy peasy. because I did figure out how to make it a symmetrical triangle, and that worked out once I got started, and I realized that it was not as hard as I thought. But another problem came up, and I will show you what that was. And I'm going to show you where I am right now. Okay. Let me sort my bag. Another clear one, by the way. And I really, really, really love how this pattern looks. I think it's a great pattern. I'm really looking forward to continuing knitting. However, I have been stalling a little bit. And the reason is, I hope you can see this. This is more blue. All of the first colors are quite blue. And now this is the one that I have dyed. And this one is really significantly greener. I'm using 3.5 millimeter needles. That's what I like. The greenish yarn is my own Sugarloaf yarn, which I love. You've been here before, I'm sure you've heard me talk about my love for Sugarloaf many times. It's a 100% superwash fingering merino, and it's a light fingering with a generous yardage of 540 yards in a 4-ounce skein. It's really great. For this here, I thought, yeah, funny. Yeah, that'll be funny. It's just going to be more green. But now, every time I look at it, I'm just really not sure if I can live with the green. It's such a break in the color gradient. Well, that's a word that I will not invent. That's a break in the progression of the colors. So I don't know. I look at this, it's laying out, and one day I'm like, I'm gonna rip it back, and the next day I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna see how it looks like later. The next section will be again with this red, and I brought the tag for this woolly lizard. Bought that many years ago in Colorado. And did I write down when? Oh, not. No, wrong. The company is in Colorado, and I have bought other yarns from them. And this one I got in Taos 2 years ago. Only 2 years ago. Last festival in Taos, first wool festival after the pandemic, where I went a little bit crazy with my purchases. Yeah, so it's funny. I've been talking with my knitting friends, and one of them said, yeah, I think it's going to be fine once you keep going. And then I'm decided on leaving it, and then the next day I look at it and I'm like, no, it bugs me. I gotta rip it out. If it bugs me so much that every time I think about it when I'm getting there, then I should rip it. And that's how I am, back and forth and back and forth. But another thing that I thought about was that I'm definitely going to need more yarn, because I'm still I'm not that far into the pattern, but I already have about 300 stitches where if you followed the pattern and this section of the asymmetrical version, I would have about 100 stitches. So I'm sure I'm going to need a lot more yarn. And so I definitely, because I didn't know about the green, and I thought maybe rip, maybe not, I did dye some more yarn. So I got this. And one darker one. Oh, I should show them all together. Like this. Yeah. So this is where I am, and now you know why nothing has happened on this shawl, but I wound this yarn. Now, I finish crocheting on Fiona's sweater, whatever yarn I have, so then I can order another ball, and that's when I'm going to get back to this, which I love. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be fabulous shawl. Yeah, the Sakita. And then there was also more new ZiaWoolz, and dang, I forgot those tags. Okay, I'll show them next time. And it is the ZiaWoolz. I think the colorway is called Abendstunde, and the Lana Grossa silk hair in an orange color. And I wanted to combine the two for some fingerless mitts, and I'm using my pattern, which is free on Ravelry. I originally designed it for handspun yarns, to be able to have a variation of yarns. Hold on one second, sorry. So originally this was designed for handspun yarns, so you have a variation of stitches as options to fit your yarn. And it's what I do every year. I make many of these and I sell them at my studio tour open house here in Albuquerque. But these will be for me. And you may wonder, what is this, what you're holding? You said you're knitting with 2 yarns. Yes, I am. I had to rip back. My initial beginning, and if you're on Instagram, you probably saw this. And my initial was with 4 more stitches, and I thought, wow, this is already loose. But if I keep going and I wash it, I think it may grow even more, and I did not want that. So I ripped back and I thought these have to be perfect, because I loved the gift. The ZiaWoolz was from another Zauberball lover in Germany. I mentioned her, Melanie Freiweib, and she's also hosting the knit along for the socks. And so yeah, these, like I say, these have to be perfect. So I'd rather rip back. Excuse me. Okay, so, and they will be perfect. Here, by the way, I wanted to show you one of my knitting notebook, I should say. That's what I usually do. I do some collaging on the cover, front and back, and in this case, what you see is the Duke City mitts, all the yarns that I used for the mitts last year. And I kept brief notes about the stitch count and the yarns in here. And yep, I'm gonna do the same this year. I have already started. Come on, where is it? Oh, this is, by the way, the company that has the gradient yarn set that I'm using for the Sagitta Shawl. Couldn't think of the name of the company. Sorry. Okay, and here is this. Here are the notes for the current ones. Yeah. What else? The Duke City mitts. And oh yes, if you also want to knit the Sakita shawl, you can tag it on Instagram as Sagitta Shawl, K-A-L. And if you want to make some Duke City mitts as gifts and for the upcoming fingerless mitt season, you can tag those anytime if you use my pattern as Duke with Duke Mania 2023. And I have already tagged this first pair with it, even though it's not technically the Mania that I usually start in September or so, or in October even, but this is just any time. And if you are planning to go on those, please use the hashtag DukeMania 2023 at any time. And even if you have started, I know a friend of mine, she already started some Duke City mitts. And she wrote something so sweet. If you've done them once, you're never going to do another pair or something. And I thought that was the sweetest. Okay, that's the fingerless mitts, the socks, the shirt, the shawl. And then I've been itching to spin again. But yes, there's a but. I have overdone it a little bit. I went to this very cool meetup in Albuquerque at the yarn store owner's house. It was the Sunday Spinners group from the yarn store, and they met up at Teray's house and for a wheel tasting. So everyone who already owns a spinning wheel was supposed to bring theirs so that other people could try that out. And that was super fun. We also did a potluck. Everybody brought some food. Loved Jeannie's peach pie. So good. No, it was peach. Yes, peach. No, you called it something different. I can't remember. And I also met someone who is currently moving away from Albuquerque, and I know she's watching the podcast, so I'm sending a special hello to Abby, who I was so happy to meet, but who's now moving away. So I hope let's all wish her a smooth move to her hometown. Yes. Okay, so I did then, after that spinning event, I did pull out my wheel. I mean, I had brought my Landrum Saxony to the meetup. And I really, of course, wanted to spin, and I did, but I overdid it. I had last spun when I showed you the skeins maybe 6 or even 8 weeks ago. And now when I went back to the wheel, I spun 3 skeins in a row, and I don't know what I did. I must have sat crookedly, and I did something to my left butt muscle. Yes. Let's just put it plain and simple the way it was. That's what I did. So I was hurting people. I thought I had torn off that muscle or whatever. I did not know what that was. I ended up at times just falling down, collapsing in the garage. And like one time I remember I came home, I had been out to shop. I crouched out there. My husband's like, "Doggy, are you out there? What are you doing?" Because it was the middle of the day and it was hot. So I was just crouching down and kind of like trying not to cry because it was hurting so bad. And then I talked to a friend in Germany after I had done a little bit. I looked up something and it was like cool it, and I took out one of those cooling things from the freezer and I put that on. It was okay. I laid down and I tried to find a position where it was bearable. And then my friend said, you know, I really think you should warm and try to take care of this with heat. And so then that was the day where I chased my husband around all the time and made him make some hot, you know, one of those hot pads that where you fill them with water. What are they called? Wärmflasche in German. So he made several of those, and then I just laid down and napped to forget about the pain, put that thing in my butt, and sure enough, the heat cured it. You know, sometimes you just don't know, is it the heat or the cold that will fix the problem? In this case, it was the heat. And by the next day, it was a lot better. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. And now I sometimes think back because it's just been a few days and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sure glad I'm done with this pain. Okay. Yes. You're going to say, what? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Yes, it was. Here are the 3 skeins. And I started off with this one, which is, I hope you can see that it also has hints of purple. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I love it. And this was 4 ounces of Shetland, and I spun this purposely thicker for Duke City mitts. So the 4 ounces have 176 yards, and yeah, that was the first one. Then I spun this, which was my Southwestern fibers, sourced at the Fiber Arts Fiesta 3 years ago. And this was just a small amount, and it's 63 grams, which turned out to the same yardage as this. And even though it's almost half the weight, but the same yardage, 174. And here we go. All the favorite colors. Seriously. And last but not least, so this should definitely, by the way, be enough, 63 for a pair of Duke City mitts, of course, thinner needles. And this is 51 grams. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. Maybe a pair of short Dukes, 103 yards, 51 grams, same fibers. Yeah, love them all. Yeah, and then I started spinning something else, which I wanted to spin lace weight. And I need to tell you something about this fiber. Oh, what is that? I should have taken a picture ahead of time, because the cool thing about this is that it's really from a lighter blue to a dark blue. That's it went in a gradient, so every color dyed separately, and so it was in this long tube, plastic tube, the bag, but still, yeah. So a gradients of spinning fibers, and I In this case, I took my time to think about what I want to do, because I always think of the Duke City mitts, which I love to knit from hand spun yarn. But in this case, I thought that's not going to work. This is 5 ounces of blue face Leicester, and what do? 5 ounces, that's way too much for one pair. It could be 2 pairs of mitts, but that also makes no sense with the gradient set. How do I get that? That I would not want one mitt to go from lighter to darker, or the other way around, and then have a different color on the other, completely different on the other one when it's a gradient. Otherwise, I don't mind at all different colors, but not in this case. So I thought I would love to have a gradient spun for a shawl. And what I did was I split so I had, I think, 4 or 5 sections of color, and so it was about a length like 2 feet maybe. So every color section, I split in half and made my 2 separate gradients. And then I know I may start with a dark blue, and if I change, the dark blue may overlap with the lighter blue once I ply. Because of course, as you have probably guessed, I'm gonna make a 2-ply yarn, but lace weight as fine as I can get. And I have started spinning, but after do we want to call it an injury? My spinning injury, I quit spinning for the time being. So I'll see when I get back to it. Yeah, hopefully soon. Yeah, because that's going to take me some time. Very fine spinning. But I love the fibers. They draft easily, and I can go super finely, and that's really fun. Yeah. Last but not least, I wanted to tell you about some other ideas that I have. I've been, I'm always drawn to the shawls, and I have made many shawls, and I have really, I'm a shawl knitter. That's just the way it is. I'm a shawl knitter. I love my shawls. I knit them from my own yarns. I knit them from other dyers' yarns. I knit them from commercial yarn, whatever it is. As long as it's fun and a beautiful pattern. I am not thinking about, am I going to wear 20 shawls? I don't care. I'm just going to do them. But I thought, I really would like to knit a garment again. What should I knit? And I was going through my queue. I'm on Ravelry, I'm Paper Dag. And by the way, as always, I would love for you to friend me. I have said it many times. I love to look at my friends' activity. If you go to the community tab and you click on friends, and that's where you see everything that's happening, whatever your friends have done. If they have put something in the queue, if they have cast on something, and it's so fun. Sometimes when I'm lazy and don't want to search a pattern, I rather flip through the friends' activity than to do a pattern search, which is kind of funny. Yeah, but here's a pattern that I had put into my queue, and that is very intriguing to me. This is by what I think is a Japanese designer, and I love the cut of this garment. I think this is something that would look good on me. It's a style that fits me, and I love the color. So now I'm already thinking, do I have to dye up this color? How much can I do? How much can I actually really get finished? How many projects can I get going? Because I'm only showing you what I've been actually working on, and that's not everything that's on the needles. But I don't want to show you those. That's boring. So this was one idea, but then also this whole crochet thing has me captured a little bit, and I have pulled out some more cotton yarns because I think they're just really nice for these loosey-goosey crochet things. Also, I'm thinking about making, oh, goodness gracious, I forgot to show you what I got finished, and I put the picture in right here. I wanted to make a present for a very special friend, actually for personal reasons. She needed something heartwarming, and so I wanted to give her a nice big flower pot, and then she tells me she's going to go on a vacation, so she's to the beach, and so I thought, oh, I have a few more days. I can whip out an Edda bag for her. And that's what I did. And I think she really loved it. So I gave that to her before she left. And the Edda bag is made with mesh crochet. So perfect for the beach. And, but that got me thinking. Let me reach down here. And I have a lot of colors in cotton yarn, in cotton DK, but also I have a larger amount of this, and also that I haven't brought into the house because I'm not decided yet. A very bright orange, pretty much exactly like this one. And then I also have this. I hope you can see shades of pink, which caught my eye somewhere in this house because yarn is everywhere. And then I went back to the crochet that I had pulled out from magazines a while ago when I was thinking about making something for my daughter. And then I'm finding things like this. No, not for me. I tried on my daughter's crochet pants the other day. I cannot recall when I have laughed so hard in recent times. So funny. Super cool pants, but on me, nothing less than hilarious. Then I saw this coat. I thought that is so simple and cool. Wouldn't that be awesome with all those pinks? Don't know if I have enough, though. I may have to go stash diving. And, oh, I forgot to show you the magazine. It's a German one, Stricktrends. I don't think they have this in English. And then there was this top where I would not want to make the whole lace shebang, but the neckline isn't that amazing. And to do the rest, that should be really simple. Just anything. Knit it. And I thought this one, that would also be, can you see those? Would that be like killer or what? This is a cotton poly blend that Monika of Moma's Wollwelt, she wound this specifically for me, the southwestern colors. And that would be so great for this, wouldn't it? But way too much yarn on the other hand. From a Rebecca magazine, I pulled out this, which I thought is also very, very cool. But then again, it's kind of like, it's not a garment. It's a decorative item. Because what purpose does it have other than to look cool and nice and fun? I'll see. I also briefly wanted to show these magazines because they are so beautiful. I don't know if these ever were available in English because it says German edition. And I got these many, many, many years ago. Don't know when. They were expensive for back then. Maybe 35 years, 30 years old. Wow. Don't know. I'm guessing. And maybe 30. 7 marks and 80. And I have a few of these, and I really, in this one, 8 marks. Yeah, I've loved these, and this is one with the squares, which I thought, I'll pull that. Let's pull that out. Maybe I'll find something that I can use, or also because I said I want to make a bag, maybe, and they have all these beautiful patterns for a whole surface, also. Yeah, and that is it from me for today. I hope you've had as much fun as I did, and I really would like to know if you are like super hyped about anything that you are working on right now. Did you get pulled into the crochet, into the dark side, and start something in crochet? And what are you making? Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Until I see you again, I hope you're doing well, and I wish you happy creating. Bye-bye.